Okay, hello. We're back again. We've got Karthik back again with us after a very long time. And today we are talking about latest Netflix release, Jagame Thandiram, starring Dhanush, directed by Karthik Subbaraj. And for people who don't know who Karthik Subbaraj is, you can go and check out his films. He's made a couple of great films like Mercury, Iraivi, Jigar Tanda, Pizza, and a couple of short films that he's made along the way.
Why do you start on Mercury, bro?
Should I restart and re-record the whole thing or what now?
No. Keep going.
Okay, so and also he's made one absolute great Rajinikanth film according to me, which was Petta. So yeah, for people who don't know about him, you can go and watch his films. Some of them are on Netflix or Hotstar and some other platforms. So you can check out his films, and his latest film Jagame Thandiram is streaming right now on Netflix. So yeah, I mean, he's a great filmmaker, and okay. Also a disclaimer: this is going to be a very short episode, and Karthik has got a lot of audio issues on his end, so he won't be interacting with me a lot. So it'll just be a very short snippet of him talking about the film.
I'll be like every character in Mercury.
Wow, bro. Very obscure for people who don't know. But anyway, okay, so I'll just be honest. I didn't like this film so much as I expected it to be. Okay, I didn't have a lot of expectations either. But there's a big difference when there's a good film and when there's an average film. So in most of his films, the beginning is very, very strong, and it sort of ties into the narrative very well. Either it sets up the film in some way, or it has that narrative, a narrator talking about what is happening to that character or something like that.
Okay,
So,
but before that, what is the order in which you saw his films, and also what do you think about him in general? Not about him, his style of films. Like, he has a particular
so
signature
he's
stuff
I
that
think
he does.
he has a certain style, which is very prominent. He's a director kind of guy, where you can see a lot of stylistic choices that are purely made for some of them for being very stylistic, like a single take, for example. But he's like hugely influenced by Quentin Tarantino and a lot of Western films which have those Mexican standoffs and a lot of things like that. So all those influences sort of seep into his films, and he's like a huge film buff. So that cinema literate style is very evident all throughout, and he's a huge fan of Rajinikanth as well. So small things he'll take from older 80s 90s films, and he'll just integrate all of those things very slyly in his narratives, which just add a lot of flavor to his films, not just landscape wise, but as a director's unique voice. So I mean, that's great, and I appreciate a lot of those things. And I watched Iraivi first, and then I went on to watch his first film Pizza, and then Jigar Tanda, and then I caught up to at that point his latest film, which was Mercury, which was a silent film. And obviously I appreciate a lot of things in his filmography. I think it was almost perfect until Petta. He's made a crime thriller in Jigar Tanda, which is actually not really crime thriller. It is very fluid with its genre. And Pizza is a very slyly made horror film, which is also very fluid in its genre. And it was, I mean, if I say something, it will be a spoiler, so not talking a lot about Pizza right now. But Iraivi was, a sort of tribute to Balu Mahindran's films and K. Balachandra's films, which are, very written with that, book-ending kind of writing. And
It's like his first proper drama that
drama, right? Yeah. It was like a proper drama, and I think that's my favorite of his films as well. And Petta was an out-and-out tribute celebration of Rajinikanth, which I think was his best film in probably years now. Like, I don't think so. He did a lot of not even like good films until Petta, and
He
he didn't
also
do a
made
lot of
like one anthology after that. Like last year,
yeah
it released on Netflix. So he made one
yeah
segment.
yeah
Uh,
that's no, it came out on Amazon actually. Put to I can't
no,
recall
no,
the
not
title.
that one. Not that one. He didn't do one in that. He did it in the other one with the Vetrimaran,
Oh,
other gangs.
Navarasa.
No, no, no. That's yet to come. That's also another anthology.
But
That's
he didn't do that Vetri Maran wala anthology, I think so.
oh yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
You're
no.
right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, he did
He
the
wasn't
Amazon
there.
one. Yeah, yeah, he did the Amazon.
Yeah. So he's fairly very flamboyant in his style and everything else. So apart from all of this, talking about the film now particularly, since we need to wrap it up very quickly, I felt that the film was very surface level in its approach, and this is just something that I observed. And I am personally not a huge fan of Mercury, although I appreciate the intent, and a lot of people like that film for its experimental nature of being a silent film in today's time. You cannot do that very easily. But a lot of the beginning part of how those characters get into the plot of the film feels very contrived. It feels very easy, and it's not very convincing. So as I said before, and I'd like to continue to that part of the beginning, the starting part of those films, his earlier films have been very convincing, and you sort of you rooting for that character at some point. Here it was very different. Here Dhanush's character Surali was a loose cannon, and this is a very silly comparison that I'd like to put forward, but I felt it was very similar to in its plotting, very similar to Simba, that Rohit Shetty film. Although like it's incomparable, but what I observed was Simba ka first half and Jagame Thandiram's first half was about this one character. It was this loose cannon type of personality, and he's just doing things without caring about consequences until that one strong moment strikes that character, and it turns into a social cause sort of thing, and that is where the change of heart comes for the character, and that is when it became very boring for me. So that first 1 hour was very good actually, like not very good, if not very good, it was very entertaining. I was enjoying a lot, and but then when this social cause comes in, it became too big, and I felt a lot of those things in Jagame Thandiram was like overwritten. I felt like it was just like way too emphasized on way too many things, and I feel from what I saw in the trailer, a lot of things didn't make it to the final film. So there's a lot of choppiness in the narrative of the film as well. But and this is just another thing that I was thinking throughout the film, because I was out of that experience fairly early. Was there was a lot of what ifs that I was thinking, and those what ifs were very brave in its could have been very brave in its approach. Like, what if that film could have done something more drastic with Suruli as a character, like
yeah.
instead of having that emotional punch, what if it was like very starkly different? What if Surili dies? What if, just an example, it's a hypothetical example, doesn't even make sense, but just an example. Or what if this film began with Suruli narrating from a midpoint, very stuck in the middle of it, how he did it with Jigar Tanda, so or that unreliable narrator type thing in one of his other films, which I don't want to mention. So I was just thinking, he that was the Karthik Subbaraj thing that I liked a lot. What I appreciated in his films. So yeah, I mean, that is more or less my thoughts on the film. What do you think?
So, like, what you're saying is basically there's a kind of divide between the first half and the second half in terms of like the type of movie, right? Is that what you're saying, or is it like?
Yeah. More or less.
Yeah, because I mean he's done that kind of thing even before, like with say Jigar Tanda. It's like
Yeah.
the first half is a more or less straightforward gangster thing, but the second thing it goes into like a bit more comedic maybe, and like an unexpected track. But
Yeah,
then
right,
still
right.
there's like some kind of transition between those two halves. But here I think
Exactly.
it just became all over the place by the
Absolutely.
middle part of it. Yeah, I mean, like I felt the same way. I mean, I also like Iraivi the best. I haven't seen this thing fully, Pizza. So I think in that movie, like he really like it's an all out like emotional drama kind of thing in Iraivi, and I think that's his best movie so far. I mean, I'd even consider Peta. I mean, you wouldn't judge it on the basis of like the merit you would give to Iraivi, but it's also like a very sizable achievement, like in terms of like being a new director. I think that's like his third or fourth film. It's still third, yeah. I mean, that's like really good for a third film. But here, I mean, initially he kept saying even before this, like when Iraivi was happening itself, he was talking about wanting to do a movie where this Tamil gangster world combines with the US gangster world. So he was looking for like De Niro and Pacino and all to do a role opposite Dhanush. But then that plan fell through, and that's when this came about. Like he got this guy James Cosmo, who is from Game of Thrones. Like I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but yeah, and then he kind of adapted the US thing to UK. So that's how this thing came about. But I think like I've had heard about this thing from him from long back, but then having seen it now, I don't think like the different elements mesh together so well. Like they seem kind of just put together like somebody wanted to combine these two gangster worlds, but then didn't flesh it out properly. And also somehow this thing of immigrants and all came in, which kind of made it a little bit more muddled than it already was. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Like I got kind of boring by the end. Like it just became this random scenes type.
Yeah. I think that's what I wanted to say as well. It became like how you said it. It was just all over the place at some point, and it just felt like it wasn't like it was like overwritten at some point, and then he was like just trying to figure it out while like shooting a lot of it. I think like there are a few good things to appreciate about it, like that one scene where James Cosmo's character and Shivadas the character, I don't know who played that character. It's a Malayali actor,
Joju
right?
George.
Joju George, yeah. They are sitting and this camera rotates and all. I think that those things are still there. That very directorial.
Yeah, it's
marks
like and that's like the kind of scene in like Peta with that thing at the funeral.
Right.
This guy shoots. So like he has that kind of scene in most of his movies, but then this didn't fit in with the rest. And generally, I thought, okay, James Cosmo. I mean, I don't have anything to say about him, but I thought the rest of the white actors were horrible. Like they were like unwatchable level bad.
So.
There was one guy with like a ponytail who kept coming.
Oh, right, yeah.
That guy was horrible. Like that guy is like straight out of like porn level acting. There was like no redeeming quality to any of them. Like there was one guy who was like just like stereotypical British, like why do they call us conservatives then? And then that was like the worst part of it. I think if he just stuck with this character to the initial portion, the Tamil Nadu portion, I think maybe the movie would have ended up better. But I think this is like a horrible mismatch. Like that didn't end up anywhere.
Yeah, I sort of agree to all of this, but I just thought James Cosmo's dialogues were written fairly well in comparison to everything else that was there. And I think that mishmash didn't sort of work, and that setup, if it was a little better, maybe it would have been more believable into that whole aspect of it. And I think these are mostly my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and a lot of things from the trailer weren't used. Like even that background music in the trailer, which was not the whole trailer, but like a part of the trailer, it was like a really good track. But then I didn't find it anywhere in the movie. And there's one scene where like Dhanush gets punched, which was like a good moment in the trailer.
Super Atambi, like that dialogue wala scene, right?
Yeah, that wasn't in the movie, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I just read there's some Netflix ka policy with respect to this, and so he had to comply to all of this, and all of those parts may make it to the TV premiere on. So you never know. Maybe then it makes a little more sense. But this time, unexpectedly, sadly, it was a disappointment. And yeah, I think this is the episode because we wanted to keep it very short. This is the film. Please comment, follow us on Instagram, comment, like, share, and recommend us stuff if you want, whatever you want us to watch. DM us on Instagram if you have
Yeah.
any point of views or anything that you want us to talk about. Yeah, this is the episode. Thank you so much.